Hello and welcome back to Sports Discussion. With less than a week to go to the PDC World William Hill World Darts Championship, we're going to do a quick preview and get my predictions for it. And I'll go for the draw and go up to probably the quarterfinals predictions. And I'll probably make it a separate video for the semi-finals and final predictions when it comes to it later on. So let's get started. But before we do, please subscribe and comment anything you want me to do a preview on or anything you want my opinion on. Essentially, just so I know what you guys kind of like and want me to upload more of. Obviously, I've done a lot of the kind of fighting and the darts, maybe one of the golf and a bit of football at the beginning, but not as much as I would have liked. So let me know what you guys want and make sure you sub, because I do see I'm getting maybe in the last video about 200 odd views, but only 4 subs. So yeah, feel free to sub and like. Thanks. So we'll start off with the first quarter of the draw bracket, and I've got to choose one player from the first 4 games, and another player from the second 4 games in the quarter, and that'll make the quarter final. So I'll run for the games. I think, we're starting to see a bit more of the Van Gerwen that we've seen previously. He's not quite 100% back to what he was. There's still gaps in his game, missing doubles and kind of not as many 180s as we used to see him in his prime. But he's getting there. He's slowly but surely. So, that Lawrence Alagan I would think would beat Ryan Murray, but he is a very difficult player to play against. I've seen him get a 9-darter on the Asian tour. He plays well for, I believe it's the Philippines. I could be wrong in saying that. It's a country like that. He plays really well. He's a really hard player to play against. So yeah, although I think Van Gerwen might find him a difficult opponent, I think he will edge that. And I think he would go through the winners of kind of Ricky Evans and Mickey Mansell. So yeah, I'm going to go Van Gerwen for the first quarter, because I don't think anyone in the other games either will give him too much of a problem. Probably the toughest opponent he would maybe face is maybe Johnny Clayton. I think Joe Cullen will win his game. I think Johnny Clayton will win his, but I think Van Gerwen will come out of that first half of the first quarter kind of victorious there. And I think out of the other 4, and this is a little bit tougher for me, I'm going with Dimitri Van den Bergh based on form this year, but he has a very, very difficult but entertaining tie against either Luke Humphries or the legend Paul Lim. I do expect him to get through it, and I do expect Luke Humphries to get past Paul Lim. But Luke Humphries, if he turns up, is a very difficult player to play against. We've seen him do very, very well in the Worlds previously, so it wouldn't surprise me if there's a shock there. But I can't see it. I think Dimitri will probably cap that, but it'll be a very entertaining game. Another possible upset to look out for, I think Danny Noppert's form has been pretty poor this year for his standards. I think Martin Kleermaker even, could give him a fright if he gets past his first round game, if he can get past his first round nerves, because he's making his debut. I think he could give Danny Noppert a real run for his money, even knock him out of the tournament and knock out himself, which is a seeded player. So yeah, although I can't see him getting past, obviously, my pick, Dimitri, I think he could have a solid wee run getting for his first game and potentially beating Danny Noppert. So yeah, I think the first quarter final will be Van Gerwen v Dimitri Van den Bergh. The second quarter, it's a bit of a mixed bag. This is up for grabs for just about any of the players in here. The first 4 games are going to be tough to choose from, but the second 4, I can only see there's only 2 standouts for me there. But we'll start with the first 4 games, and I think, although there's going to be some very entertaining games, tough games to predict, but I'm going to lean towards Michael Smith edging through past the likes of kind of Devin Peterson, Gary Anderson, he's slowly getting back to his best as well, but yeah, he's still got a long way to go. It's tough. You've also got Mencer Sulovic, if he turns up, could cause real trouble for him as well. But I'm going to go with Smith. He's been consistently pretty good this year, and yeah, I just think it could be his time. You never know. But he does need to turn up. I mean, he's been playing well recently, and I think he'll get through that first half of his quarter to get to the quarterfinals. The next quarter, and I'm calling this early on, Dirk van Dijvenbode has been phenomenal since he got to I believe the final of the major earlier on this year. I see him getting past the new youth world champion, Bradley Brooks. It'll be a tough game, and I also see him getting past Rob Cross and knocking out the number 5 seed as well. Rob Cross is, since winning the Worlds himself, has been, yeah, his form's been all over the place. I mean, I just can't see him getting past Dirk. He's playing far too well at the moment. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Dirk van Dijvenbode to cause a couple of upsets there. And I think he'll be going up against, to get to the quarterfinals, likely Damon Heta. Glenn Durrant, I think he'll get through the winner of Steve Beaton and Portela, although his form's been awful since getting COVID. I don't think he gets past Adrian Lewis or, in my opinion, Damon Heta, who will get past Danny Baggish, I think. So I'm going to go Damon Heta or Dirk van Dijvenbode, because Adrian Lewis's form's just a wee bit too up and down for me at the moment. Although he's put in probably the best set ever in the World Championship history. It's last year with Darren Webster. I just think Damon Heta's too consistent and will take him out. So, and if I was to lean towards one of the two, see, it's a weird one because Dirk van Dijvenbode's attitude is going to cause him issues if he doesn't sort out, because as soon as he has a bad throw or misses doubles, it can cost him. His head goes down, he beats himself up. Damon Heta's calm, cool and collected, he gets on with it. I'm going to lean towards Dirk van Dijvenbode, but he needs to get his mentality right in order to get there. So the next quarterfinal, I'm going to go Michael Smith and Dirk van Dijvenbode, and that will be a phenomenal game. Very quick, good rhythm for both players, and yeah, it'll be certainly entertaining if that comes to pass. The third quarter, and this is also a very interesting quarter to go through here. I'm also going to pick I'm going along with this as I read through it, really, but straight off the back, well, I'll get to that pick in a minute. I'll go for the first 4 games first, and on paper, when you look at it, Peter Wright stands out, obviously being the defending world champion here. But Simon Whitlock has been absolutely phenomenal this year. And Peter Wright's form has been very up and down. He's either playing phenomenal or he's abysmal. And he's changing darts every 2 minutes. So that's a really tough one. Ratajski and Clemens also will give them a tough time. Also, as well, unseeded players, Ryan Joyce has been playing very well himself. Nico Kurz was great last year at the Worlds. Andy Hamilton's back for the first time in how many years? I'm not too sure. It's been a good while. Obviously, a former World Darts Championship finalist. So it's a really tough one. I think it's going to be, even though it's tough, I think Ratajski's missing doubles. Clemens' form's been a bit mixed. I'm going to go with, it's either going to be Peter Wright or Simon Whitlock. I'm actually going to call an upset, and a lot of you will probably disagree with me here. It all depends on what Peter Wright turns up. But I think Simon Whitlock's form has been consistent. It's been phenomenal, and I'm going to pick him to potentially cause an upset there. But as I say, it all depends on what Peter Wright turns up. I mean, if Peter Wright turns up, he may be too much for Whitlock, but based on form this year and how he's playing at the moment, I'm going to go with Whitlock just. But I'm definitely going to go between him and Peter Wright. But you never know in darts. I could be talking complete nonsense here and we find it'll be Ratajski and Andy Hamilton. You never know with the Worlds. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with Whitlock for that first 4. The next one is really up for grabs. I mean, I'm calling out an unseeded player here in Ryan Searle. As soon as I seen his name get pulled out, I was like, nobody wants Ryan Searle. especially if he's on form, the guy is an absolute machine. He's been in pretty good form the last couple of World Championships, just not quite getting over the line later on in the tournament. But he's got a great chance. I mean, he's got to get past Jeffrey Deswan, which will be a tough test. His form is rather mixed as well. He's been playing well though recently, from what I've seen. So that's a tough one. But I think Ryan Searle will fancy his chances, and I do fancy his chances as well. I think he'll also give Ian White a game because I believe Ian White will get past Hybrooks or Dezang. I think you're pronouncing that. So it's tough. It's really tough. I'm gonna go. It's going to be between for me Ryan Searle and James Wade for the other quarter, the other spot there. I'm gonna, I'm got just for scoring power and if he turns up, for me James Wade is just too steady. Like a solid ton player, 100. I mean, I just think Ryan Searle, if he turns up, will beat him. So I'm calling out another non-seeded player to get through. His half of the quarter, and I think it could be a Ryan Searle versus Simon Whitlock quarter final. But I mean, honestly, if there's so many names that I wouldn't be surprised at getting there if I was wrong. It's a real tough one to call. On to the final quarter now. And yeah, looking at the first four games, you've got Price versus Woodhouse or Jamie Lewis, who returns to the World Championships this year. And then you've got Brendan Dolan versus Mike De Decker and Edward Folks, I believe that's pronounced. Then D'Souza versus either Ross Smith or David Evans, which should be a good game. I think Ross Smith will come through that and face D'Souza. And Smith playing well at the moment, so that will give D'Souza a tough tie, but I think D'Souza will get through that. And then you're looking at Mervyn King versus Max Hopp, or Gordon Mathers. I've not heard much about Gordon Mathers. I believe it's his first time at the Worlds. I think Max Hopp will get through that, and Mervyn King, as consistent as you get. It's a tough one. For the first four, it's going to be between Price and D'Souza. I'm going to go for the experience. I think Price, although D'Souza is obviously won the most recent Grand Slam, and Price's form's dipped a little bit recently, I think Price has played the best darts overall this year. And yeah, he's definitely one of my main picks to win the Worlds in general for the first time. So yeah, for that reason, I'm going to go Price to get through the first four legs there and be a quarter finalist. Going down, this is up for grabs big time for anyone who wants it the most. The obvious pick here would be Nathan Aspinall, but I'm going to point out a potential kind of underdog here in Keane Barry, the multiple time world youth champion. I just think he gave Vincent van der Voort, who's actually in this section, a good run for his money. I believe it was last year, and I think he'll improve again. If he turns up in the same form, Dobie's been in poor form as well as Gurney in his path to getting through. I think you could just about argue it's a tough one. It really is. I mean, I think Keane Barry will get through that, but one of the guys to look out for here is, I might pronounce his surname wrong here, but Boris Kreismer. He was playing Michael Smith. I seen him for the first time in round one of the Players' Championship. He actually broke a record of the highest losing average in that tournament of 108. Smith had to check a 142 and a 145 to get through that first round because Boris gave him one hell of a game. So keep an eye out for him. It's his first World, so I'm going to lean towards it, maybe getting to him a bit. It's a big payday for some of these players. I just don't think he's quite ready yet for it. So I'm going to go either Keane Barry here or Nathan Aspinall. Nathan Aspinall's form's dipped a wee bit recently as well, but in terms of experience and kind of consistency, I'm going to go Nathan Aspinall to play Gerwin Price in that quarter, the fourth and final quarter. But yeah, honestly, it's really up for grabs in all of these games. Some absolute crackers. I could be completely off, which is why I'm not going any further and predicting semi-final and final just yet. But yeah, that's what I think's gonna happen. up to the quarterfinals. As I say, I'll probably make another video near the time for the semi-finals and finals when the draw's there. And yeah, that's what I think so far. I mean, in terms of choosing a winner, it's if you asked me a month ago, I would have said Gerwin Price hands down. But his form's dipped that tiny wee bit, which has put a bit of doubt in my mind. But I'm going to stick by him and go for him. Folk to look out for that could go quite a long way. I mentioned Simon Whitlock. Obviously playing the best darts of his life, arguably at the moment. He's more than capable of going a long way in this tournament. Also, as I mentioned earlier, Dirk van Dijvenbode unseeded in the second quarter, playing Bradley Brooks and Rob Cross in his first two games, if he gets past Bradley Brooks, of course, in the first one. And then either Jamie Smith or Adam Hunt and Lisa Ashton, who I think he'll get through as well. And yeah, I just think he'll come out of that, and he's more than capable of getting to the quarterfinals and even further. It all comes down to his attitude, though. But that's a shout as well to keep an eye on. A couple of games of the first/second round that I think are worth keeping an eye out for. First of all, I'm thinking straight away Adam Hunt versus Lisa Ashton. I think Lisa Ashton is more than capable of getting through that. If she turns up, Adam could be a little bit nervous. I think Lisa could push him the distance there. That could be a close one. And another famous female victory at the Worlds. Another one to look out for, I think, Ratajski. I think Ryan Joyce will get through his first round tie against Karl Sedlacek. And I think him and Ratajski will have a very good competitive game. May not be the highest of scoring games, but in terms of overall quality and consistency, I think that's going to be a really good contest as well. I'm just literally going through them as I speak here this now. Yeah, there's a lot. Oh, of course, that was the main one. Dimitri van den Berg, and I believe it'll be Luke Humphreys, but either way, Paul Lim could give him a good game as well if he does come through that. But I think Luke will get through that and give Dimitri a really good game. It could be a major upset, but I'm leaning towards it not being that, but just a really good game. But you just never know at the Worlds. It depends who turns up on the night. But yeah, a lot to look forward to anyway, especially with the crowds being back as well. So that'll do it for this video. As I say, I'll probably do a video about the semi-finals and final near the time, and a kind of brief preview of that and what's happened so far. So keep an eye on that. I've got a couple of videos coming up with, for example, the Scottish Cup final between Celtic and Hearts coming up. And I'm also in the middle of organising a video to do a preview and predictions of Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier happening in January. So stay tuned for that. Please subscribe, like the video, and yeah, stay tuned for more.